Hello, everybody, and welcome to Behind the Camera Quick Cuts, a behind the camera series that celebrates streamers and content creators, focusing on their journeys, their wins, challenges, and of course, getting to know them a little bit better behind the camera. My guest today is Kayborowski, viewer turned streamer herself. Kay, how are we doing today?
I'm doing really good, thanks. I guess I am viewer turned streamer.
Yeah, because I remember when you started streaming, it was almost like a sort of thing. Because I could be wrong in saying this, but whenever I remember you started streaming, it kind of came from you having always said before, I don't think this is something that I would ever or ever could do. And then now look at where we are. So that being said, let's hear about your background in streaming, how you got into it from that one fateful day with Lavanek, if I am correct in saying.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. It's a little bit hard to tell like my exact story from start to finish because technically my very first stream on Twitch was in 2017 to an audience of exactly one person who I knew from work at the time, and it did not go well. I didn't know what I was doing or what the concept was, and then I didn't use Twitch again until probably I think around 2021 or 2022, when I became streamer turned viewer. And no, I'm joking. I wasn't a streamer at the time, but I started watching a lot of Mario 64 speedruns in the background of work. I had a really stressful job at the time and I was getting very burnt out at this. And it was just really nice to have some people to hang out with, which is also where I met you, Andy, and also just actually a lot of people that would be listening to your podcast, I think, as well. And yeah, I kind of just watched Twitch streams for a long time until, like you say, there was one time Lava that you mentioned, Lavanek, was doing a series of teaching people to speedruns Mario 64. And since I'd spent like the last year just racking up hours of watching this, I decided I would do it. And it was really fun and it was really sweet. And then everybody that was watching that stream kind of bullied me into streaming some more. And that's really where I started, I guess. And that was about maybe less than a year and a half ago now, like at the end of 2024.
Wow. That's really flown in, like, honestly, because I honestly, if you'd have asked me, I would have thought like 6 months at this point. So that's incredible that it's gone in. Like so much time has passed, and like at this, and ultimately that you've kept it up, because a lot of people will just kind of give it a go and then kind of fade out with it, like myself included. And so that's incredible. And you started out really kind of mainly doing co-working streams whenever like you were working during the day and just having a little bit of crack in the background. And I thought the setup you had for that was absolutely incredible. Like, you had your task lists and everything like that. So where did the idea for doing the co-working streams come from in the beginning?
Co-working streams originally were kind of a joke. So basically, I would watch a lot of streams in the background of work. And then I found out that there's this whole thing of co-working streams that people are streaming while they work and taking little breaks together and this type of thing. So I started watching a couple more of them, although I wasn't really watching them so much when I started streaming them. But I started logging on for 3 hours every Wednesday while I was working to just run some co-working streams in kind of the style that I had seen otherwise, because I was taking over a slot from somebody else who had been doing that. And we had a community that just needed a place to hang out. And I just was thinking, I've already set everything up to stream. Why don't I actually start doing these co-working streams? So it started kind of as a joke, but then those 3 hours became the most productive 3 hours of my week. So I still stream co-working just for 3 hours every Wednesday. It's not something that I really feel like I put a lot of time into, but it's weirdly kind of the cornerstone of why I'm streaming. So soon after doing that, I started actually playing games and things as well, but it was just a little bit more low effort. And it also meant that I could be setting up my streams while streaming. So I couldn't put it off any longer. Basically, if I wanted to play games or something like that, I felt like I had to get everything set up and ready to go and be able to capture screens and have a bot set up to interact with chat and things like this. But with co-working, I didn't really need to so much. There's a bot called Super Sweet Bot that you can install, which is the one with the task list and the timer and everything that you've seen. And it's really straightforward to set up. So I just set that up and went for it.
Yeah, and I honestly like because I remember you used to do the when you did the co-working streams, and like they were really like the way you had
I
it
still
with
do
the bots.
them
You still do, yeah.
every
I
Wednesday.
haven't seen them in a while, but I think it's just to do with timing and stuff like that for me personally. But
Hmm.
yeah, because I remember you had like your to-do lists, and I feel like it kind of added like a lot of like discipline into like your own kind of workday, where you're like, okay, the break had the timer on, the breaks were scheduled for um every would it be every hour maybe for 15 minutes or something like that or
Um, sometimes it really depends. Like sometimes I do shorter sessions. So I'll do like 25 minutes focus session and a 5 minute break, or sometimes I'll do like a 40-minute focus session and a 10-minute break
uh-huh.
or something like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I find it really helpful and it really kind of structures my day a little bit. I find it a little bit difficult to stay focused on my tasks if I don't know when I can stop. And I particularly find it useful when I'm working on something boring, like something that I genuinely do not want to put any time into. If I say I'll just put 25 minutes into this, you kind of see it progress and you just get some work done in it as you
Mhm.
go along.
Yeah, because genuinely it was something that I was kind of considering giving a go around around the time that I seen you do, because
Hmm.
I was thinking, I could do with that kind of level of concentration and doing something, and then kind of, because the reward is there. You basically are setting the goal and setting the reward for that in terms of like, okay, I get a break here, I get to chat to people, I get to do whatever. um but obviously it's a lot harder. It's a lot easier said than done, really, doing that. And then, so okay, so we said then, that was like sort of the core part of your stream for a while, and then you got into playing games, and you're very very much a variety streamer, which is I always have a lot of respect for variety streamers, because that's the hardest thing I think to do and to maintain. Especially when you go from watching somebody who played Super Mario 64, and when people do that, they kind of almost have to stick with something like that or any kind of equivalent game. But with variety, it's sort of a thing where when you get it right, you get it right. So, what sort of behind the games that you were playing, what was the sort of inspiration to decide, well, I'm going to do this one day, I'll do this another day, and so on?
Yeah, that's such an interesting question because it's so funny. I don't really exactly think of it like that. Like watching Mario 64 was always just like a nostalgic comfort game to kind of
Mhm.
have on the background for me, but not really something I ever particularly wanted to get good at playing, you
Yeah.
know? Especially because I was watching people playing it at a really high level, like not just like casually playing the game, but like trying to play it as fast as possible, getting onto leaderboards and things like
Yeah.
this. It's like that's a really different thing to what I do. So I don't know. I don't really play games that way. I don't really use the word variety because even though there is a kind of big variety in the games that I play, I feel like I mostly just play games that I feel like playing, and I'm not like intentionally looking for a broad variety of games. I just like games that are beautifully made, and I like games that have a really nice narrative to them. I like shorter indie games usually with a lot of story and this type of thing, and so I don't know. I always kind of feel like there's a lot of games out there that I really enjoy that I wish other people would play, but that they don't necessarily want to read through long amounts of dialogue
Yeah.
to get the story and this type of thing. So I kind of feel a little bit like if you watch my streams, you might be able to see a game that you wouldn't usually necessarily play yourself. Um, which I guess that's kind of the concept behind it. Although a lot of the time I'm just like thinking, well, it would be nice to play this game and be able to talk to somebody about it.
Mhm.
And also in my first year of streaming, I found the Slow Game Club, which we were talking about before, is like a book club for games
Yeah.
that's a fundraiser for a charity in the UK. And so I had a subscription to the Slow Game Club, and I was really happy to just stream. The idea is with that is we get a new game every month, and then we play the game, and then we meet up and we talk about it. And so I had 12 games already laid out to play. So I decided to stream all of them as well.
Yeah, and like that's because sorry, whenever you told me about the Slow Games Club, I thought like it was such a fascinating concept, because it's something that focuses on independent developers and
Yeah.
really kind of helps put their games out there in an industry that is incredibly difficult to do. Like it's really hard to get your game out there, when it comes to marketing and stuff. So having something like that, and you are an ambassador for Slow Games Club from this year, am I right?
Yeah, that's right. This year I am. Yeah. So last year I played every one of their games on stream. And this year I actually liked it so much that I just reached out to them and applied to be an ambassador for them. I really like their setup because I think a lot of people have always wished that there was, at least people who are into indie games wish that there was like a book club for games where you can like talk about the games together and this type of thing. And they've set it up not just that there is a nice place to do this, but also it's for charity. So it's like, I don't know, I just think it's such a nice little concept.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it goes back to your point as well, where you said that you play these games and wish you had somebody to talk to about them. And like,
Yeah.
the more niche you get with a game, like, I'm sure you could probably count more games that people haven't heard of that you've played than otherwise, to be fair, just because of like what your tastes are
I would
and
agree.
interests. But I think that's like such a good thing because I mean, it's like to go back as well to the variety point. Like, you still, when it comes to like, you look at the numbers, the metrics, and all, everything's still very consistent. You have your community and watching all your games every day. And even if they wouldn't play the game, they're still along with you for the journey. And that's always like an incredible thing, especially with these long story based games where you can't really miss a stream if you're gonna if you want to kind of keep up with the story, you can't really miss a stream. And
Yeah, I
like,
guess so.
yeah, because I mean, I know for a fact every time I've jumped into your stream is either a different game or a different part, and I'm just like, kind of, yes, this is happening.
Like, what is happening? Sure.
But I mean, as you say, like, they're very like visually stunning and very artsy, and that's also a kind of really enticing thing about them as well. So what's the current?
Yeah, I love when a game has a good atmosphere.
What's that, sorry?
Oh, currently? Oh no, I was just going to say I love when a game has a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like even if I'm not following, I think a good atmosphere will kind of do it for me.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So what is the current game on at the moment? That you're streaming, but also from the Slow Games Club.
The current game from the Slow Games Club, I am actually streaming at the moment. It's called Cabernet, and it's a game about vampires. It's pretty cool. I think it's from a 2 dev team based in the UK, and it's kind of a story-based game. I'm kind of a little bit struggling to get into this one, but that's kind of the beauty of a book club, game club concept, I guess, is that you end up playing games that wouldn't necessarily be your favorite game and having the space to kind of talk about them. It also gives a motivation and incentive to not finish something. But the last game that we played with the Slow Game Club actually is one of my favorite games I've ever played. And I don't know if I ever would have found it if it wasn't for the game club, but it was a game called Sorry We're Closed. And it is like kind of based on the first Resident Evil game. It's kind of got that feeling of like the fixed camera and you're running around fighting monsters, but the story in it is absolutely beautiful and the art in it is completely stunning. And it was just really nice to get introduced to this game and get the opportunity to play it. We also have a Q&A with the developers as part of the Slow Games Club, which is really nice. So we got to ask them some questions and things too.
That's incredible. That is incredible. And how did you come across then the Slow Games Club? Was that just something from playing the games you played, or was it like maybe an ad on Instagram or whatever it may be? Or
it was a totally random ad on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
On Christmas Day in 2024. On Christmas Day, they were doing a like 50% off sale, and I thought, I deserve another Christmas present from myself and so I bought it for myself.
That's incredible. Like, and obviously look sort of how well it served you over, the last sort of 14 months plus. Like, it definitely is like such an important thing. And, as you said, it's some months you probably will get games that aren't to your taste, but obviously like it could be somebody else's absolute favorite of all time, like you've had as well. And like, I feel like I've heard of Sorry We're Closed, and I feel like I've heard of it outside of seeing you stream it as well. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm definitely going to look it up after because I'm pretty sure I've heard of it. But like, and do you ever find out the games in advance, or is it just literally the day of or the day before, for example?
No, on the first of the month, we get them sent out to us. We get a key sent out to us.
Unreal. That's unreal. And so yeah, and Cabernet, this month's game about vampires, but yeah, it's like you say, if you kind of don't get into it as such at the very beginning, then it's incentive to kind of keep it going, isn't it? And just sort of
exactly.
It's interesting because it is far too easy to just kind of give up on games sometimes, especially whenever like you're in that position where it's like cheaper games that you find on Steam, and you're kind of just like, ah, it's all right if I don't finish this. It's only a couple of quid here, like, you know.
Yeah, I try really hard not to have a bunch of games in Steam that I haven't finished. It's not going very well. I have like so many games in Steam that I haven't finished, but I really try not to. And it is like like I said, one big draw to streaming for me was the fact that I can talk to people about these games as I play them. Because I had an issue where I was playing a game called Paradise Killer. And it actually came up as one of the Slow Game Club games last year, which was great. But I had played it a few years ago and I never finished it because I was enjoying it so much and I wanted to talk to people about it that I thought maybe I can convince some people to play it and then we can talk about it and then I can finish it. And I just ended up not finishing it because of this. And like that's so wild. But I'm dreadful for that. Like I do that with books and with TV shows all the time as well. Like if I like it too much, then I don't want to finish it.
Yeah, I feel that because then this once it's done, and certain games as well don't necessarily have that kind of replayability. At least within
True.
the first sort of, at least within like a year of playing it. Like I definitely can rhyme off a few games. Like I was actually talking to my brother about this one recently. He's been playing a game called Cairn, but he compares it to a game called Journey.
Cairn looks so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm very. He compared it to Journey, and that's like that was the selling point for me. And like Journey,
I haven't played Journey.
It will change your life. But that it's kind of one of those things. Like I think I played it like maybe 2 years ago, and it was only really the last couple of weeks. I'm thinking I think I could go and play this game again, and I would like feel familiar enough, but also like not like I've just played it last week. You know, especially
yeah. Like you have to leave a gap.
Yeah, exactly. Like especially when a game is so like emotionally involved like that. But no, Karen is another one that is I'm very curious about, especially when it is compared to something like that. So looking
I'm definitely going to check out Karen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're glad. So like looking through then throughout the year then in terms of your streaming, like is your streams going to be sort of more based on the slow games club games, or do you have any ideas of things that you might want to do sort of at the side, or what's the sort of plan looking like for the rest of the year? If at all.
Bold of you to assume I have a plan. Well, I don't really have a plan at any point, I don't think. But I don't know. I tend to just either look through games that I have that I never finished, or games that have been on my wish list for a long time, or sometimes new games that are coming out. Like I definitely plan on playing Karen this year. Like that's definitely on my list. I haven't bought it yet. But I think I don't really tend to have much of a plan aside from my plan is to stream all of the Slow Games Club games because I think they're really nice. Generally, they've been really good games. Even if they haven't been 100% my cup of tea, they've always been really nice. I always do co-working on Wednesdays, as I said. And the rest of the time, I'm really just, looking around for interesting picks. Like, for example, yesterday for International Women's Day, I jumped away from Cabernet for a minute and played through just a short game. It was a short puzzle game, kind of a little bit like those games like, do you know, like A Little to the Left or Unpacking, or these types of games where you're just kind of organizing and sorting things. It was kind of this style, but it was I guess kind of gothy, kind of like it was a game called Birth, and the concept was you're alone, like a lonely person living in a city, and you want to build yourself a friend. Okay. And so you have to go out throughout the game and collect bones and organs and put a person together. And it's like the story was whatever. I don't know. The aesthetic was really beautiful. The story wasn't too there wasn't really too much going on. That was the setup, and then the rest of the time you're just picking up bones, this type of thing, and it was just such a fascinating game to play. Like the visuals are so beautiful, the art in it was so beautiful, but also just the interactions with these little puzzles. It wasn't particularly challenging. It was about 2 hours long, but every puzzle was extremely satisfying. So I guess I'm kind of always just looking for little things like that. Like I love just a short indie game that's just doing something new, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like those kinds of games that are just one stream, one and done, but you get so much out of it. Like it's one. I firmly believe that sometimes the visuals in a game can tell the entire story, and it's just you don't need much of a story going on. Don't need character development and all, which
Exactly.
but you get like you feel a lot more satisfied by playing like these are smaller games, especially if they're kind of out of your normal wheelhouse as well.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, like, because I was the same whenever I streamed. Like, I would have been solely Nintendo, but then the moment I did something else, it was kind of just like, you know, wow. Not in a sense of, oh my God, there's other games out there, but more in like a sort of, yeah, we've come a long way over the last 30 years for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
yes, but Kate, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on Behind the Camera Quick Cuts. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your story as a streamer. And I would just like to give you the floor to just sort of plug yourself and let especially the live viewers here on Twitch, where can we find you?
Oh, sure. Yeah, so anybody who's actually viewing live on Twitch can probably just click on my username because we're streaming together.
Yep.
But you can find me on Twitch. It's my username is Kayborowski. So Kayborowski, and really that's the majority of where I am. I do have like a TikTok and an Instagram set up, but I don't use them very much. But if I could take a minute to also plug the fact that I'm doing a fundraiser
Of
this
course.
month. So
Of course.
I am raising funds for uh, it's kind of because of International Women's Day being yesterday, but also just throughout the whole month of March, I'm raising money for a charity called Free a Girl, who work to free children from exploitation, which I feel like has been crazy in the news lately. And I've been feeling really overwhelmed and powerless about this topic. And so I really wanted to run a fundraiser this month for it. And Free a Girl are doing a 5K sponsored run concept. So right now I'm doing 20 steps for every euro that's donated with the hopes that my lofty goal of raising 500 euros in March so that I can start doing 10,000 steps per day, which somebody once said was a good idea. I think maybe a pedometer salesman or
Yeah, you just
something
pulled
like
that
this.
number from somewhere.
Yeah, it's nice though. And I plan on doing a 5K run at the end of it as well. So I think it's a really important cause. And yeah, I'm just running that for the rest of March. So I just wanted to kind of throw it in there too. I've got a link also that I'm sure Andy will share for me somewhere.
Yeah, of course. The for those watching live on Twitch, the link is in the pinned comment at the top of the chat, and for those who are watching on YouTube, the link is in the description. So be sure to check that out. Very, very important and relevant topic today, and it's just very, very noble cause. So definitely give that a look, and also be sure to check out Kay on mainly on Twitch, as she said, because great streamer, great vibe in her chat. Her chat are very, very welcoming. Built herself an incredible community. So if you're interested in
Thank you so
indie
much, Andy.
games, very
It's really
welcome,
sweet.
very welcome. If you're interested in indie games and just chill vibes, definitely be sure to check out Kay. And that will do us for episode 2 of season 2 of Behind the Camera Quick Cuts. I have been Andy, no longer Andy Games these days, but who knows? My guest has been Kayborowski. Definitely be sure to check out Behind the Camera with Andy Games or Behind the Camera on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, anywhere. And also be sure to check out the book, Behind the Camera, The Journey So Far, which released on the 5th of March. It is out now for the world to enjoy. Thank you very much. And yeah, there we are. That has been us for episode 2 of season 2, Behind the Camera, Quick Cuts. Thank you again.